All right, let's get into calculating the beast and get into some nature stuff. And this is the wild Nordic from National Geo, and that's the Ron on the back side with the CID, and the ID is for the real ID coming, but also you're going to have the Idaho event coming, and Idaho connects us to Yellowstone and to the Cascades. It has a special event in the future that should be lining up in some way, and also they can be doing a succession with Oregon and such that can be kind of that symbolic earthquake, in a matter of speaking, in that area, to where Oregon splits off, because as we've seen, they were voting and stuff on this earlier, and this would tie into a reflection of succession starting or whatever, and that's where you could have kind of a banana belt start from Idaho to Colorado, or the Four Corners area in a way. Either way, the dark speak on the Scandinavia is what this video is about on the Mystic waters. All right, and notice the time, the backwards 22, 2024, the 21, those types of things. All right. And
it's a way of life. It shapes the land.
And notice they just showed a couple fish with their eyes and mouths open in disbelief, and they were shocked at what they saw, because there's only not that many few people that have been following along since day one and who can actually see kind of what's going on, and these are those live times, and this would be when they start to see things. All right, so, and then they go into the river, and we'll see you later and talk about the three fish there.
And the culture.
The grass snakes. All right, that's for the Bud Light. And then the snakes are the people in church who are under Satan's spell, and they do not know it, and they are about to be taken off a waterfall, we're shown here.
With it flowing.
And notice that was about the 24, 23, 25 mark. Okay, so some shit starts going down the cliff. That's that alphabet time frame. And we got that wall in the background, that green wall. That green wall's built on that Bud Light and such. For the dragons.
Or in between.
Alright, so this is when we're in that in-between time frame. And notice we're at the 2-3 on the back side. Okay? Which is now, and we're starting to get those frozen time frames. And we're in that between phase. What's going on is the original with the Virginia AI vote and that red wave and such. That was a fertilization of a baby in a way, and it's going to give birth in a physical form and bring part of the Messiah out. Okay, and we've been tracking this way back when. So then, as this physical one breaks open for the Lord's wrath, okay, then you have the spiritual one being set for the one that's going to feed off the Lord's wrath. That is for the Great Tribulation, because we're going from the tribulation to the Lord's wrath, which we're in now. And the Lord's wrath is setting up the end of the tribulation, which is turning on shit for the Great Tribulation, for the beginning of that, and then you have the overlap of the Lord's wrath setting up to bring in the Great Tribulation, which is where you have the harder, softer things, which is kind of tied to the tribulation being played out. Either way, so this is just like a 3 steps overlapping to break open the full stage. All right, so we're in that between kind of time frame, and that middle time frame also for the 70 weeks of Daniel and the things flipping over. So we're all part of that, and this is that bow, the AT boat that's being shot, and it's going across different types of ice we see. And then we also got that crack pipe down the middle. That's with a Hunter Biden kind of thing, and then it's gonna, this is probably the Epstein stuff. And then it's going to get to the harder land or whatever. Either way. You got the grizzly bear. And we've seen the grizzly bears in the news for... We've been tracking those past couple years here and there. But there's so much going on. You can't track every single thing. But the grizzly bear is obviously related to the Russian bear, and that's the bee and ear and those types of things as well. But it's going to the water, and we're going to learn about these animals later on as well.
Follow the flow through Finland.
And that's the otter for the Ottoman, for the Texas such and stuff, and that it's coming back up out of the water. Head first, because they're searing the heads first, and then the body follows. But the otter is tied to the O, the crown, and that TT for Trump's twin return, that Gemini, when he's given the ring and those types of things. And whatever else. All right, so we'll just continue. I got to keep these kind of somewhat short. I can't go through, like, you can go through every single thing and dissect. Obviously, this is the 24 backwards. We see, we're going to hear about these logs later and how they operate or whatever. But this is the wood. We've been tracking all the woods, and it's being stacked together. And that wood is tied to a couple different things. We know that the word in Britain, I don't want to get the video flag, but the word for the word in Britain for a small stick and such, it's it sounds like a fig tree. All right, the fig tree is a delicious fruit. All right, the just replace some things. Either way, it's like a matchstick meant to burn and such. So that's some of the wood tied together. We see like this wood, that wood, that wood, that wood, and this can go for miles, or I think up to a mile, they say later on. Either way, so we'll get into that.
Ways can be highways.
Here's a closer picture. You can see all the different stories and everything all coming together in one format and one line to create one reality that you can kind of walk on. All right, it's a patchwork of different things. While it's all the same, it's all different. Okay. And then you got the two kayakers. The IC skaters. And then you got the cold dip for that COVID corona.
Over the chills.
The ills. The church ills. The chills.
And the thrills of Scandinavia.
The thrills is the T for Trump at the first, but on the back side, he's at the end. He's getting that capital T for that Trump, that last donation. All right, and then you got hers, and then the rills for the Israel versus the Israel, and then you got the ills for sick for the armies that gathered and got the RNA change and the rib taken out and covered with flesh.
Wild water.
And notice that was the ice skater on the mirror. All right, the reflection. And he's going into the sunset. And you got another Corona spill. All right. And that's when you got to have the ice picks to get out, or you're just going to get the hypothermia, that hypothermia, which is going on now with the Bud Light, and it's going to light up the cannabis stuff eventually. We'll see how they play that. They can go positive or negative depending on how they want to do the virus and taking out dollars and however else. All right, so it's gonna do the currency battles for the flood. All right, so it's gonna get good. The shield, the double axe, the wilderness, the wild her nest, the 23, which is 2023, and 2020 or 23 on 9/11, which is 24 and 25. All right, you got the ill, which is the 9/11 right there. See this? Okay, boom, boop. Then you got the D for Don, Ron on the backside, Dick for building up his dragon takedown. And you got the Sid, the CID. That's the Idaho. And time to the potatoes and the real ID. Potatoes tied to the Russia. And then they make the vodka, the V, the 22 odd Ka. And that Ka is tied to the Kansas chief that went down there and started doing signals. And then now you got Snoop Dogg sending signals after we've been tracking different signals going back and forth. We had the pink or purple smoke or whatever color smoke it was in Maine. So either way, we're going to end it here because of time, and then we'll start another video.